Here is a home in Waukesha County. The home is 3,500 square feet and is approximately 50 years of age. It shows signs of cracking, shifting, and settlement. As you can see from the white border, this home is settling to the right. American foundation specialists, engineers, have calculated that this home has settled an incredible 5.2 inches to the south. Besides the settlement to the south, the breezeway attached to the southeast corner of this property is settling to the east by an additional 4.5 inches. The engineering department at American carefully studies the soil conditions surrounding the home. These studies will determine the exact size and location of the helical piers needed to support this foundation and raise the footings and structure back to its original position. One of the most impressive functions surrounding a piering contractor is one that is qualified to design and engineer its own helical piers. As you will see later in this presentation, this particular bracket is the most important part of the lifting process. American Foundation insists that these brackets be uniquely designed for each specific job. American's competitors tend to buy the same piers and brackets for each and every job. Imagine if your foundation needed a bracket with a wider resting area under your footing. The fact is, footings are poured differently by different contractors, and so it is the utmost importance to have specific piering design specifications for each job. American also insists on piering product that is 1/2 inch thick and that the shaft be 4 inches in diameter. All of our materials are galvanized, unlike our competitor's product, which is raw steel. Lyle is now going to show us some of the special hydraulic lifting devices used during the process of repairing your foundation. These hydraulic rams will raise 40 ton per cylinder and are placed at 5 feet on center at the footing. So just think, a 30-foot wall would have 6 hydraulic rams totaling 240 tons of lifting power. I'm sure if asked, American Foundation specialists could certainly straighten up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And so, here comes American for approximately 2 weeks on location at 10 hours per day with an average of 10 persons on the team. Before the job actually begins, our men lay plywood from the road all the way to the home and around the walls to be repaired. This portion of our process will save a homeowner thousands of dollars in landscape repairs after the job is done. Next, we set the mini excavators in place and begin the excavation down to the footings at the affected wall areas. We use small equipment to excavate and haul the ground down to the road with powerized wheelbarrows. From window wells to large boulders, we carefully remove the things that are in the way of the excavation process. And in some cases, we'll even temporarily remove, transplant, and then replant shrubs after the job is complete. Now we've excavated to the footing and hauled all the fill and clay ground away, exposing the problem areas at the footing where the helical piers will be anchored. Remember earlier in this presentation, American engineers pre-located the placement for the helical piers at 5 feet on center. They're now marking those predetermined sites on the footing. The helical piers need to be recessed, so the concrete foreman will now cut away those needed areas for the helical bracket. You don't see it in this presentation, but there is an entire orchestration of work being done around the perimeter of this home. Excavation is being performed, followed by the concrete foreman cutting away the footings, while the next stage of this lift is underway. Here, the drilling foreman is guiding the operating engineer to allow the first segment of helical pier to be drilled vertically straight into the ground. Notice the 18-inch diameter cutting tip, which will now auger to depths as much as 90 feet as necessary per our engineer's specifications. Case-hardened bolts connect the first flight to the drilling head. Our competitors typically use what is called a push pier, and it's exactly that, nothing more than a straight pipe hammered into the ground in hopes that the soil around the pier will support your home forever. It might be cheaper, but it is not a quality job. What you're viewing here is a 20-ton drilling head, which will be monitored by an additional foreman who tracks depth and pressure being applied to the pier as it drills through the various layers of subsoil. As you can see, additional helical piering sections are added in order to reach the proper depth. Each pier for this job is 7 feet in length. One of the most important processes is to install the customized bracket to the helical pier. The foreman marks the location on the pier and cuts away the excess pier above the footing. Now we add the lift plate and bolts, which will house the 40-ton hydraulic jack. It is crucial that the lifting plate bracket be anchored to the footing prior to the lift. Why? The problem with a home that ends up in this condition is the result of footing settlement, and more importantly, the fact that the settling is uneven and it's in unstable soil. Our attention to every detail, including anchoring the brackets to the footing, ensures that the footing will be brought back to level during the lift process. The 40-ton hydraulic jack is now being placed in its completed helical pier assembly. Remember, there is a helical pier every 5 feet on center around the entire perimeter of this home. All hydraulic jacks are preloaded to 1,000 pounds prior to the foundation lift. Because American could not excavate certain portions of this home's foundation due to unremovable areas such as stoop and chimney, here we installed the piering assemblies on the inside of the basement. At approximately 5 days into the job, all helical piers will be in place. Hydraulic jacks will be installed and preloaded, and the engineers will prepare for the lift. Laser levels with red beams shining onto the home's walls are strategically placed outside and inside the home. This provides the foreman with an accurate accounting of the raise in progress. American will not paint markings on your home. Instead, we simply place tape on the siding at each pier location. On this wall, there is a man at each hydraulic jack monitoring the pressure gauge during the lift. Over the past 60 years of foundation repairs, we have learned to raise a home only 1/4 of an inch at a time. In the case of this job, American patiently raised this home 5.2 inches over the course of 5 hours. Notice in this picture the separated ground beneath the footing. It is crucial that this space be filled with a concrete slurry before backfilling with engineered stone. This is the time that the building inspector in your community be contacted to inspect the job. Once all signatures are given and owner is satisfied, American begins the process of sealing the exterior walls with back plaster. We prepare the wall on the exterior by scraping and cleaning everything so that the cracks can be chipped out in preparation for the back plaster to come. All the cracks on the exterior wall are now back plastered from the footing all the way to the grade line. This is the first of American's exclusive four-step process to ensure water and moisture stays out of your home's foundation walls. We take great care in preparing the footing bleeders so that the drain tile can be connected from the outside to the inside in order for your sump pump to work properly. And now for the next step. American foundation specialists still hand trowels and brushes on all coatings. When you spray on coatings like most other companies do, they have to be diluted, which will not provide the best waterproofing. We clean the top of the footing in preparation for the drain tile, And now, for the third step in our exclusive process, the protective 6mm polyurethane sheeting adhered from under the drain tile all the way up and doubled over 2 feet at the grade line. Notice the care that is taken to adhere the poly sheet to the still wet coating, which, by the way, is not the first coat, but the second tar coating on your exterior foundation wall. There is no water that will penetrate this wall after we finish with it. We nail the poly sheet 3 inches on center to ensure that nothing will pull away the sheet along the grade line. And now comes the PVC drain tile. We use a single piece 4 inches in diameter. We cover the drain tile with filtering stone from the footing all the way up to where the topsoil will begin. American takes great care when filling the excavation with stone, as this stone will filter the water much better than the ground that was originally there. Every man on the job pays attention to this process because it is that important. And then our final step of insulation, not only for energy savings, but for expansion and contraction. Filter fabric is placed the entire length and width of the excavation, which holds the compacted topsoil so that nothing settles into the filtering stone. We grade the topsoil with proper pitch so that water drains away and not towards your foundation. This foundation will never move again. Hey, we're not done yet. Now we begin the cleaning process, and we are so meticulous about cleaning. Your lawn will be cleaner than when we arrived. After every lift is complete, there is a sense of complete satisfaction amongst the men and the homeowner. A homeowner will witness for the first time in years the feeling of a level floor beneath their feet. Hey, our boys do a great job. We'll even make your neighbors happy because we clean the road. American Foundation Specialists is a family-owned company since 1947. If you would like more information about American Foundation Specialists, give us a call at 414-427-1000 or visit us online at AmericanWI.com. Several months later,
we shopped around, and American saved us thousands of dollars, and we've got our basement back.
Our family has been fixing basements for over 60 years. Satisfy customers like these. That's our future here at American.
427-1000, American Foundation.